RCT-126 coming at you here. We're at the Strasburg Railroad
Derek here.
thing.
Derek S. from...
Yeah, I got Derek S. here.
Hey, I just noticed something about this Strasburg. I like all
we're going on a train ride here at the Strasburg Railroad thing. Yeah, that's what we're going to be riding. That's what we're going to be riding. There we are. That's a train. Hopefully we'll be on that one. So we'll be riding on this big train. Well, I never noticed it before. There's a big gap there where the wheels are. I always thought it was like a solid thing. Get a amount of people around here who also want to go on a good train ride. We are now preparing to board the train. You know how long this is? A long one. We are now going to board. We are now boarding the train.
What are you like? Here, Papa.
Here we are. We are on a train. What kind of? It's like a boiler.
No, don't stick your hand out.
It's like a boiler there.
It's against company policy to lose an arm. Yes.
In no relaxed time when it was every youngster's dream to be the engineman of a great steam locomotive riding the rails of America.
What's up, homie?
This is train number 200, the 19th Century Limited, departing at 2 p.m. for Fairview, Espen Shade, Cherry Hill, Groff's Grove, Carpenters, Byler's Crossing, Lemon Place Junction, and Paradise, Pennsylvania. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not going to any of those places I just listed, you might be on the wrong train. If you have not verified your ticket purchase today at the station between lampposts 3 and 4, you have just about 10 minutes to do so before we depart. And along with that, I'd like to depart on you some safety rules here at the Strasburg Railroad. Now, we're a very old but very safe railroad, and we enjoy a high mark in safety due to the cooperation of our great passengers such as you. So I'd like to remind everybody, number one, is to please keep your heads, your hands, your arms, all appendages, all children, and all your belongings, including all your trash, inside the train at all times. That's somewhat all-inclusive, wouldn't you say? You see, there are obstructions and close clearances along the track, and it may not appear that we're going very fast, but I guarantee you, going 25 miles an hour and you try to reach out to a brick building or a tree that's not going to move, it's going to hurt. So please, keep your hands inside the cars. And these windows are heavy, and we don't want them to come down unexpectedly. There is a friction safety latch that holds the window in place, and that will keep it safe above you. There will be a few times during the ride that I invite you to listen out to one side of the train to either listen for the ghost or to wave to the engine crew. So if you don't have your windows up, that's when you can do that as well. We ask that you do not move from car to car while the train is moving. Please remain inside the car you're in now for the journey. And also, along with that, please remain in your seat at all times while the train is moving. None of you seem to be Olympic world-class surfers, so please don't test your surfing skills when the train starts rocking by standing in the aisle. I guarantee you, with those hard maple and oak armrests on the cars, when you're standing up and you lose your balance, it's going to hurt. So please, stay in your seats. Along with that, treating the furniture on these cars just like great-great-grandma's house is a wonderful way to respect the craftsmanship of the employees here at the railroad. So you're encouraged to put your feet up, but please leave your shoes on the floor. So bare feet and stocking feet are just fine to put up on the car seat, but not your shoes. So we do appreciate your cooperation there. There are trash receptacles at either end of most cars, so all of your trash can go into those. There is no eating or drinking aboard the coaches of the cars. That's what the parlor cars and the dining car are for. Sipping water is understandable on a hot day like this, but please do not break out a picnic lunch in the coach area of the cars. before we depart today, we would like to welcome and recognize on our combine car number 60, the Westminster Presbyterian Church. Welcome aboard and thank you for riding with us.
You can hear the cheers.
We really appreciate you coming out and taking a little time to time travel with us. And folks all aboard across the entire train, that reminds me of one more thing. The uniformed trainmen will be coming through the train to collect, or at least to observe your ticket purchases, whether it's a paper receipt or to see that on your phone. Now, once you have produced that receipt on your phone, I challenge you to resist using that phone for anything else but photographs the entire trip. Put away that Candy Crush, put away all that social media, and come back to 1915 with the rest of us and enjoy a peaceful train ride pulled by a steam locomotive. So all the sights, all the sounds, all the sensations of old-time steam railroading will be what you get to appreciate most about your day at the Strasburg Railroad. On the road to paradise. All aboard!
As you heard, there was like whole introduction to this ride. So we'll be starting in a few moments.
And I have one more group to recognize today on coach number 72. We want to welcome everybody here from Rochester, New York. The Bus America Group Tours.
We'll get back to
welcome aboard the Strasburg Railroad.
Not allowed to rain.
How do we put these together? Release that.
The conducting.
Great job. Man, what a great job. Running this train for every day.
I just heard the whistle, so I guess we're about ready to pull out very soon. Hear the hiss. You can hear the hiss of it. I don't know if they're pushing or pulling us on this one. Would they be pushing or pulling?
I think the engine's up there.
These people are just flying their feet.
Yeah, what is it? They had to get their photograph. As you see, it's like a packed house here. Sort of, but not very packed.
Do you have a... Ollie, do you have something?
I'll turn it on and I'll bring it back when we start
If you're
moving.
hot.
Oh, we're starting to move now. We're in motion now. Now riding the train somewhere and then just back again.
You ready to go, bro? About ready. Yeah, ready.
Yeah, and here we're going to pass our car, man. Right behind the water tower. There it is. There's our car.
Passing the water. Yeah, that's a pretty good park.
The daddy chill.
Thomas Train Station. I don't remember anything about Thomas trains.
Yeah, but then you might accidentally.
I believe it's passing
You love them.
There's a pile of dirt and coal. Oh, here's another train. There's another train here. Park. Oh, look at that train there. That's a good train. Those are some rusty old trains there. Could be the train junkyard, maybe. There's some cornfields that's just sprouting. Yep, cornfields just sprouting. Probably by late fall, there'll probably be enough for them to harvest, probably, but I don't know how long they grow. Oh, here there we come to the Red Caboose Motel. Red Caboose Motel here.
There's the Red Caboose Motel.
People waving when we come by.
Wait, that's a motel place you can stay in?
There's some horses.
So small. It's a good motel place.
There's some horses there.
Those trains, they're trains.
It's like staying in the SUV then. What?
No, I'm saying they're train cars.
I think that's where they usually keep the servant stuff, or the.
There you go.
It's not like a passenger car. It's more for the.
Motel rooms.
Yeah. Oh, there goes the tickets.
You got them.
We have many tickets.
Ticket.
We're going to stop here.
As far as this thing goes,
What?
Here's my ticket.
your ticket.
Okay, we got 6 here.
My golly, who are you claiming? Back here?
Yeah.
I see. She looked a little bit mixed nutsy. You know what that means?
No.
Looked like she didn't want to be included with this group.
Oh, probably not. Thank
You
you.
want to be an outsider.
Thank you.
Historic Lancaster County farmland. Historic in many ways because as we come into the tour here at Groundhog Cut, you'll notice some long gray sheds with red doors on the running right of the train. You might even see a stone farmhouse with maroon shutters. That stone farmhouse was built in 1774 and was the home of Cornelius Farine, who also had a trading post here. He was a Conestoga wagon maker and a wheelwright, and he sold provisions for anybody traveling on the old trail between Philadelphia and Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which actually now is Pennsylvania Route 741 off in the distance there, but it was a Conestoga wagon trail before the American Revolution. So if you were heading further into the western frontier in the colony of Pennsylvania, you might stop and see Cornelius Farine and get some provisions, maybe a Pennsylvania long rifle and the shell and shot that you would need to protect your family and maybe hunt for food along the way. Stepping just a few years past the American Revolution, you'll notice now the train is bisecting the Cherry Crest Adventure Farm on both sides of the track. Lots of fun games and attractions. Looks like an obstacle course or two. The petting zoo as well. And on the running right of the train, this big open space here with the scaffolding in it. That's not where they're hanging witches anymore. That is the grounds for what will become the amazing maze, corn maze. So if you can see out here on the right where the chalk marks are, get a good look at the pattern and try to remember that for when all the corn grows up, and then come back and test your skill there. Side of the train with the big white tent and the fence that says pizza. There's a train station at the crossing up here for the road with a very small sign, and I know we're going by at such a breakneck speed you might not be able to read it, so I'll tell you, it reads Cherry Hill, population 17, more or less. And that's more when the train arrives and a whole lot less when the train leaves again. We're coming now to our cross. It's not unique in and of itself, but what makes this area unique is that it's the only place in North America where two trains on the timetable pulled by steam locomotives will meet. And remember, meeting is when the trains are heading opposite directions on parallel track. Passing is parallel track going the same direction, and a collision is the same track coming right at each other, and we don't do that here at the Strasburg Railroad. So we're coming now to the end of the Picnic Grove area, and I will tell you all about the Picnic Grove on the way back, the secrets of Groff's Grove, if you will. It's an exclusive. But now I have to ask a personal question, and this will cover some of the people who stopped me and asked me along the way about ghosts. I'd like to know who on board believes in ghosts. Well, if you don't, that's fine, because I say you're a skeptic until you're not, but I have a railroad ghost story that just might change your minds. Looking out here on the running right of the train, we see those treetops out there in the distance. On the other side of those trees once ran a narrow gauge railroad called the Lancaster, Oxford and Southern, the LONS. And the locals nicknamed it the Little Old and Slow. And that didn't generate a lot of confidence in the line, and it went bankrupt. So when the scrappers came in a hurry to tear down the track and the station, they forgot that train number 6 was still somewhere out on the line. And now she's turned into nothing but rust and dust because she has no station to which to return. Now, our engine's going to blow its whistle at the crossing. We may hear the ghost of old number 6, so hush up and listen.
Oh my God! Don't scare me.
You can hear that?
Well, I have to say, for all the spoil sports on the train, that was no echo. So turn in your test paper with a big F on the top of it. That was no echo. That was a ghost. If you don't believe me, you probably don't believe in Santa Claus either. Now, Santa Claus rides this train, so I know he's real. And I can prove to you that ghost is real in a number of ways. The biggest way is that we pay that ghost $27.50 a day to be out there blowing her whistle for us. And that makes her the highest paid employee on the whole railroad. Now, nobody can really say what she looks like. Some people claim they know. Some of us, I've seen the headlight off in the distance, or at least I think I have. But one thing is for certain, somebody cashes those paychecks every 2 weeks. Echo indeed. Now, and resting there are veterans of the American Revolution, as well as many of the Huguenots who came here from France around 1712. Now, what's a Huguenot? Huguenots were a sect of people in France that were escaping persecution by the king there for their religious beliefs. It seemed that in Europe around the 1700s it was a big thing to persecute people who didn't practice the same religion as the king. So William Penn, having a great debt owed to him by the King of England, was granted a massive tract of land in colonial North America called Penn's Woods. And these religious groups would go find William Penn and get a tract of land from him so they could come here and practice their religions freely, which is really the development of the Pennsylvania colony. The Quakers near Philadelphia, the Amish in this area, and the Huguenots even too. Huguenots also went down to South Carolina, but that's more useless information than you'll need today. So anyway, the Huguenots went to William Penn. They got a tract of land, about 2.5 square miles, and came to this area. Hans Herr and the Amish were there, and the Pequot Indian tribe was also there, so it was pretty idyllic, everybody living peaceably. And they decided, after seeing the nature of the rolling hills and the fertile landscape, that they called their settlement Paradise. So when I said we were bound for paradise today, I wasn't kidding. We are bound for paradise, and for me, the best way you could arrive in paradise is to be on a train pulled by a steam locomotive, and we all get there the same way today. Soon, we will all be in paradise. And by the way...
Excellent. Vegan not approved joke. That's it. Not approved vegan joke.
Now I'll show you the ghost of one of those steam trains coming through. It'll just be a beautiful sight. This time of day, we may see an Amtrak train come through. Now historically though, in 1861, a significant event happened here that follows that every president since Abraham Lincoln that's visited Pennsylvania by train has come through the Lemon Place Junction where we're heading now. In 1861, Lincoln was the first. He'd been on a special trip from Springfield, Illinois to Washington City on a little bit of a tour before his inauguration, and he stopped here. Later, after the Civil War, a second train followed the same route but from Washington back to Illinois, bearing the body of the same president to his final resting place in his adopted home of Springfield, Illinois. But it is significant that every president that's ridden the railroad through Pennsylvania has come through here since Abraham Lincoln. That's a lot of people. All right, folks, get a good look around. All about you, take in the fresh scent of honeysuckle air, which is wonderful, maybe even some of the coal smoke, and it's my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to paradise. Yes, isn't paradise lovely this time of year? Well, it's Paradise, Pennsylvania anyway, but it's still paradise. And for some of us, I remind myself especially that this could be as close to paradise as I may ever get. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be stopping very soon, and at that time, once the train stops, you are free to stand up and stretch. If you'd like to flip your seat back the opposite way, if you're not facing the direction we're going, feel free to do that at that time. We'll be here about 5 to 7 minutes. The conductor is going to cut the engine off from the back of the train. I'm going to run it to the front and couple it to the train. And then you're going to hear some rumbling and some hissing under the cars, but don't worry, because those are the rattlesnakes we keep there to make sure the hobos don't ride. I'm kidding about that. There aren't any hobos. Well, there aren't rattlesnakes either, but you will hear rumbling and hissing because that rumbling and hissing is the air brake system being tested. Every time the engine is cut off and recoupled to make sure that the brakes work through the air brake system. Thank you, Mr. Westinghouse, for that design. If you ever go on Jeopardy, remember, Westinghouse designed the air brake system, still in use today on all railroads. So feel free to stand up. I'm not going to call for jumping jacks like this is Wonderama or something like that, but stand up and stretch. Flip your seat backs if you'd like, and we'll be ready to go in about 5 to 7 minutes. Oh, one other thing. Please make sure that when the engine goes by the train, you pop your head out the window and tell them they're doing a great job today because it gets hot in that locomotive. 2,000 degrees at the firebox. They get kind of cranky. If they don't feel some love from the passengers, they may not couple back on, and then all the kids on board have to push us back. And we've got quite a few kids, so we can still make the trip pretty well.
Nice on the end.
Then you have to sit
Well, we are now,
that way. Unless you want to ride back.
we're going to be switching cars, switching the engine to go to the other side, so we'll be showing that pretty soon.
Hey, Uncle Richie. Wait. No.
So we're getting ready for the
What's up?
ride back.
You want a window?
Yeah.
There's one over there.
Some people are going to turn their seats the opposite way, but
Yeah.
Just don't stick your arms out. Or...
Of course I know.
so
I'm scared. I'm scared to
be ready for that kind of event. Stay tuned for that. Here comes the train heading back, heading to the other side.
Just watching that was pretty cool. And it is now
say it's my day.
Do you think there's an onboard train?
Oh, that was a train going by, the engine heading its way to the other side of the car so we can be pulling back to the station where we started.
And it was supposed to be a half day for him, so they gave him an
Where everyone cheered when they go by. So
But he's going it's tomorrow and Friday.
we'll be on our way to the opposite way when they get back
No reason to
connected.
go to school.
Now we're heading back to the station where we started. Going backwards now, in a way, in my perspective.
2:30. We're in paradise.
Yo, Grandpa, why use that roadhog voice?
I am the road hog.
Okay, you're the roadhog.
Unless you're the road hog. Look at my hand tracks. There's it all right.
It's pretty much going to be the same scenery going back that you just saw on some of the footage. Only it's backwards. So I'll bring it back more up to speed.
You'd be invited to get out here if you'd like at the picnic grove for your picnic lunch. Now, when we go by, you'll see that we provide some playground equipment, some barbecue pits, an outdoor privy, and a water pump, almost like a set from the Waltons, you might say. But you get to provide the picnic lunch and all the smiles. So, anytime you come down here with your picnic lunch, hop on board, tell us before we get out to the turnaround point that you want to stop at the Grove, and on the way back, the train will stop. We will pop out on the Grove side of the train with our step boxes and we'll help you down. Just don't miss the last train of the day back to East Strasburg. It can be a long walk. Now, along with that, if you check the website for the Cherry Crest Adventure Farm to find out when they're operating, you can get there from Groff's Grove. Buy a ticket on the railroad, ride out, get off at the Grove, walk over to Cherry Crest, play over there till your heart's content, and then when you're ready to come back before the last train of the day, come on back over and ride back to East Strasburg. Parking problem solved. So there you have the mysteries of Groff's Grove. to say, how do you know that Espenshade Turkey Farm is the oldest turkey farm? Well, it's verified by Poultry World magazine. And yes, there is a Poultry World magazine. And when I first heard that, I thought there's probably 12 issues, but I can't imagine a swimsuit issue. It'd be loaded with chicks, right? But it'd be pretty foul. Fun to say, too. But they also have the Casey Jones Restaurant, which is in 2 G70 coaches of the Pennsylvania Railroad. And that was a great story how those coaches got put in there by one of the engines of the Strasburg Railroad. But I don't have time to go into that today. But check out the website. Now, as our 9-mile journey on the rails of history comes to a close, I want to thank you all for riding with us. Thank you all for tolerating my quirky sense of humor as well.
I can.
If I could give you a medal for it, I would. But, you know, that's how it goes. But anyway, from all of us to all of you, we thank you for riding. Your ticket today not only got you a ride on America's oldest short line, 189 years old today, but it also serves as a bit of support to the Lancaster County farmland and preserving railroad history as well. Have a safe trip home, and a reminder about safety on the journey into the station. Once we come to a complete stop at the station, that's when I invite you to stand up. There is no rush to get off the cars. This isn't the MTA or the Long Island Railroad, so we're not going to throw you out there like maybe the bullet train does in Japan, because believe me, they get you on and off quickly. But collect all the people in your party, collect all your belongings. We'll sell your belongings you leave behind. The people you leave behind, we're going to put them to work washing dishes. So please make sure everybody's in your party with you. Now, when you cross the tracks to get to your car to go home, keep in mind, 90's going to pass the train between the station and the parking lot. So the 3 magic words, always, 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 when you cross railroad track are stop, look, listen. Stop at the track, look both directions, and listen everywhere for bells, for horns, for whistles, all the sounds that trains make. Never assume that the train's not coming until you stop, look, and listen for your safety. That's true on any train track, because we want you to come back again. Check our website, because we got a lot of crazy events coming. We got this big engine over here from Virginia, the Norfolk and Western number 611, visiting from the Virginia Transportation Museum. You see there's a little blue guy running around and a little green guy running around from the island of Soda. So our website will give you the days and times that all these different special trains are running with us. And we'd like to see you travel. Why not take the train? It's a whole lot safer than your car and a whole lot more fun, too. Grand Central Station, East Strasburg is next. All change. And little man in the green pants, would you please sit down? You are making me scared. Young man in car 58, please sit down. Thank you.
I just said please remain.
Now pulling into the station after that train ride, where we started in the beginning.
Still haven't seen that movie. Still seen the classification. Oh, man. Yeah. Maybe because I wasn't old enough. Yeah. You know, it's got some not very content in it.
We're now exiting the train after that little ride.
Really fancy chandelier. Yeah, well, some of these cars are pretty cool. Oh, yeah, well, there would be the fancy cars.
There we go. So now we're off the train. Well, that was a very eventful. They're moving the train to go back to the position where so it could pull the next group of passengers. It was quite a ride. I'll give it that. We were riding in coach where we were. Here. We were on 58. That's where we were sitting. Here's the whole station. quite a train ride
Alright.
on that.
Yeah, pretty nice place.
I like it.
It really shows I don't get as bored of that history as I used to be.
Well, that was our trip to the Strasburg Railroad. I thought it was pretty fun, seeing it going on the ride, hearing a ghost train, stuff like that. So I would advise you, if you like trains, come to this location and take a ride. Until next time, this is RCT126 signing off.